Good morning. All right, so it's not super crowded in here because I think people are exhausted from the protest yesterday. So thank you all for coming, but you need to make up for a little bit in volume there. Good morning. Good morning. Great. I think people will be straggling in a little bit. Thank you. Good morning and welcome to worship with the Unitarian Universalist Church of Ventura. I am the Reverend Dana Worsnop, minister of this energized, connected, committed, joyful community of resistance and resilience. Woo! We gather to keep love at the center of our lives and the way we move in the world. And no matter how you got yourself here, on foot, on wheels, online, holding someone's hand on the way in. We are a community of many beliefs, identities, origins, sexualities, and genders, and all are welcome here. We preface our services by acknowledging that our building, sorry, I have a prop I need to get. We preface our services by acknowledging that our building rests on the unceded ancestral homelands of the Chumash peoples. And today, for that acknowledgement, I simply want to share the words on a sign that I saw yesterday. It read, "No one is illegal on stolen land." So many complex truths in that short sentence. We rest, stand, and live on sacred ground. Ground with such a long legacy. Ground that absorbs our tears and supports our protestations and witnesses our lives. Couple of announcements. The climate justice revival is almost here. At last, it'll be next Saturday in in Berg Hall. Yes? Yeah. Okay. In Berg Hall, our social hall, through either of those doors, from 12:30 to 5, and we're coming together to imagine anew. To reimagine the earth. It'll be Saturday, April 12th at 12:30. Together, we will reimagine the earth. Childcare will be provided for anyone from up to fifth grades, although older kids and youth are also invited to join in the imagining any parts of it that they want to. And if you do need childcare, you need to basically register tomorrow. So the best thing if you're here, the best thing to do would be to go to the Connecting Center in Berg Hall after the service and let somebody know about that. There'll be more information there. And my final announcement is that we are coming to the end of our stewardship season, and we really need everybody's pledge in by April 10th. Pledge cards are bright pink this year. This is how we create this community together with our generosity. And the times are certainly strange. And our contributions of all kinds are how we make this community happen, including the financial pledges that people are able to make. Our goal isn't necessarily a particular number, though bigger, more will serve us well, be well used. Our goal is 100% participation so that everyone feels like they really have, they've contributed in financial ways as well as the other ways. So please, get on it. We are always more powerful, more grace-filled, more humble, creative when we support one another. So let us now enter sacred space together.
Good morning, everyone. I am Worship Associate Xenia Young, and we start our service every Sunday with the lighting of the chalice. And I invite those of you who are home on Zoom to please take a moment and light a chalice or a candle of your own as Reverend Dana lights the chalice of our free faith. We begin our service with these words from Reverend Sharon Wiley. It is said that the church is here to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. I say we are all afflicted and we are all comfortable. May our time together this morning be a comfort and a confrontation. May we here find peace in times of tumult. May we here invite tumult into lives of peace. May we here find calm in times of restlessness. May we here allow restlessness to evolve into action. Let this be the place you consider what you've never considered. Let this be the place you imagine for yourself something new and unthinkable. May this hour bring dreams of new ways of being in the world. Come, let us worship together.
I'm Music Director Carolyn Bierke, and I'd like to invite you all to join me in singing our opening hymn, For All That Is Our Life. Please rise in body or spirit.
Name is Lily Rappaport. I'm the Director of Family Ministry, and now is the time to call all those young or young at heart to come up front for the story. Well, first I have a question. How many of you like to go on trips? Yeah, okay, there's so many trips, like field trips, summer trips. What kind of trips? Road trips.
Road trips, yeah.
So today's story is about is a round trip story. What do you think that means? A round trip. Okay, usually it takes place in one day. Okay, you go someplace and then you come back home. Okay, so that's considered a round trip, right? In an airplane, you might get a round trip ticket. That means you go from here to there and then you come back here. So that's what's called round trip. And round trip is interesting in this story because it talks about a perspective. You're going one place, you see one thing, and then when you come back home, things might look completely different, even though you're kind of along the same road. So let's look at this story that's called Round Trip. There we go. This book is indeed about a round trip. This is what the author says. And we'll travel straight through, and before you turn around and come back, you'll scarcely be able to see what you see. So let's have a nice trip. We started out as soon as it was light. And what time do you think that might be? Dawn. That's good, all right. Yeah. Our neighborhood was quiet, and the house is dark, and the sun shone on the pond. Do you see the sun's reflection? Yeah, do you see birds in the sky? Yeah. Town was empty. The stores still closed. We passed a small farm in the valley. Do you see the plowed fields in the farm? Right? They look common. We see that around here. We passed fields of wheat, and we counted the cars on the train. Yeah, how many cars do you think there are on the train? I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 13. The road wound down through the mountains, and the trails led into the woods. And on the highway, we headed for the coast. The water was rough and the waves high. See how high those waves are? And we followed the shore past marshy inlets and summer cottages, like those marshes on the ground. Then we saw the city. You see it in the background, right? Tall buildings. We crossed a bridge, and we were there. Those buildings are so big, aren't they? They're so high. And after parking the car, we rode the subway. How many of you have been in a subway? It's underground. Then we went to a movie. How many of you have been to a movie in a movie theater? And to the top of the tallest building. Okay. And then we looked down. What do you see down on the bottom?
Cars.
See a line of cars, maybe? Right? Okay. We watched as the sun set. And then, time to turn around. The sky was dark. Lights came on all over the city. Back on the street, we looked up where we had been. Okay. Look at that fancy roof up there, right? We had dinner in a restaurant. We picked up our car from the garage. And we left the shining, starlit city. In the country, telephone poles lined the road. And we looked back. Searchlights pierced the city. We saw fireworks and stopped to watch. As the smoke from the fireworks drifted away and the birds resettled in the trees, we drove on. We went under an expressway. Lightning flashed across the sky. It rained hard and puddles formed. We passed smoky factories. Can you see that smoke coming out of those smokestacks? Yeah. We took the tunnel under the bridge, or under the river, and soon saw our moonlit street. Can you see the moon? Oh, up there, okay. Home again. And that's the end, until you turn the book around and you read it back. And that's how this book is written. So I'll have this book for you guys to look at later on. And now is the time for us to sing the children out to their classes. If you would form a bridge of love.
We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go. We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life, we hold you in our love as you go.
That story was a little mind-bending, wasn't it? I loved it. Each Sunday, this congregation gives away our collection to an organization in the larger community or to funds that help people in our own church. Those of you who are at home have two ways to give. On Zoom, there'll be a link posted in the Zoom chat, and you can also text assist, the word assist, to the number that is about to be up on the screen. And those of you here in there it is, in the sanctuary can also have two ways. You can give cash or check and put it in a box at the back of the sanctuary after the service, or you can text to give here. And actually, there's a third way for everybody, because you can go on our website and look and click in and give on the website, though not in this immediate moment here in the sanctuary. Our offering today goes to Ventura Homeless Prevention to keep families in their homes who otherwise might be evicted and face homelessness by paying the portion of rent that they are unable to pay in this immediate moment for this particular month. They resume paying their own rent and, immediately afterward, and over 90% of the people Ventura Homeless Prevention has helped are still in their homes a year later. The best way to prevent homelessness, or to take care of homelessness, is to prevent it up front. Keep people in their homes if we can possibly help. Imagine being unable to earn your living as a carpet cleaner because thieves stole the catalytic converter in the company truck and you're stuck. Imagine suddenly receiving no pay for weeks because the elderly client you had cared for years was suddenly passed suddenly. Imagine taking time off for work to care for your spouse who is undergoing treatment for brain cancer, only to learn that your family leave was denied due to a paperwork error. Thanks to offerings like the one we are taking this day, Ventura Homeless Prevention was able to keep these 3 families, 4 adults and 7 children, in their homes where they still are. This organization helps 2 to 3 families like them every week of the year. Thank you for giving generously, as you always do.
no expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kinda funny, I find it kinda sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. And I feel the way that every child should sit and listen, sit and listen. Went to school and I was very nervous. No one knew me, no one knew me. Hello, teacher, tell me what's my lesson. Look right through me, look right through me. And I find it kinda funny, I find it kinda sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Enlarge your world. Enlarge your world. Ooh. Mad world. Mad world.
We are always so grateful for the generosity of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of love we call community within this sanctuary and beyond our walls. Thank you.
The sharing of joys, sorrows, and milestones is one of the many ways we keep the ritual and practice of holding one another in community. Each week, we help keep this church community stay strong and connected by sharing with one another some of the heartfelt joys and sorrows that touch all of our lives. There is both power and comfort in standing together in those moments. In joys and sorrows, we do not stand alone. We place a stone in water for each celebration or lamentation to represent the way each ripples out throughout this church family. You too can submit a joy or sorrow for sharing via the link on the website uuventura.org or a link in our Thursday email bulletin, UUCV This Week. I invite you now to speak into the gathered community or write into the Zoom chat the names of those that you wish to celebrate or memorialize, or those in need of the loving embrace of this beloved community.
Laura.
Reverend Dana will now place one final stone in the water for all the joys and sorrows yet unspoken in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. May we be truly grateful for all that is our life.
Please remain seated as we sing Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire.
and striving so. I love prophets, but not believe. I love within the prophets who stir strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control. Our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are freed.
We offer a reading in two voices by the Reverend Ashley Haran. Another world is possible. We say it again and again, even when the proof lies somewhere beyond the horizon, or on the flip side of a picture, beyond our reach, beyond our imagination.
This is our faith. Another world is possible, not somewhere else, another world, another lifetime, but here and now, for us and for all.
Another world is possible. There is no single path toward that world, no one strategy or approach that will restore the balance, heal brokenness, sow wholeness, free creation.
There are many routes toward liberation, toward freedom, but the abundance of options does not absolve us of the responsibility of acting.
Another world is possible. The call, the duty of each moment in history is to discern who are we and what can we bring with humility, integrity, faith.
What is the context, and how can we address it with agility, resilience, skill? What is the vision, and how can we realize it with accountability, relationship, joy?
Another world is possible. In this time of despair, of fear, of collapse, this time that is both like every other era and like no other time in history, it is audacious to declare our faith and to commit our work to a world that is more free, more just, more whole.
But we are an audacious people in good company, with many kin, and we are ready to show up and work hard, and stay humble, and make friends, and hold the vision, starting here, now, today, with us, and persevering however long it takes until that other world is not only possible, but that other world is here.
I invite you, audacious people, into a time of meditation. Place your feet on the floor if you're comfortable doing so, and close your eyes if you want to, and breathe. Simply breathe. What is the vision of the possible world of agility, resilience, accountability, connection, joy? What other world can you imagine? A silent meditation.
my heart I will pray. Keep on one train on this track, runs to heaven and right back. St. Peter waiting at the gate, said, come on, sinners, don't be late. Every time I feel the Spirit in my heart, yes, I will pray. Every time I feel the Spirit in my heart, yes, I will pray. Every time I feel the Spirit in my heart, I will pray. Every time I feel the Spirit in my heart, I will pray. I will pray. I will pray.
I knew that was coming, and I meant to look at you all when the final thing came, but I was just mesmerized by you. So, there are likely almost as many ways to learn to read as there are people who learn, though they generally fall into about two categories, two general camps. Sounding out words phonetically or learning to read whole words all at once. I was the latter. I can even remember the very first words I ever read. It was in first grade, and I already knew that combinations of letters made words, though they just looked like an indecipherable jumble to me as I was trying to work it out. And then on one of the first days of first grade, we were using the book Fun with Dick and Jane. Yes, that very book. And on the very first page, Big Brother Dick was giving his littlest sister, Sally, a ride on his back. Sally said, "Go, go, 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 Dick, go." And suddenly, the words made sense. It was an utter revelation to me. And I can't fully explain it, I just knew it. And wouldn't you know that an internet search actually found the very pages of that book with the picture of those momentous pages. There they are. Once I started reading, I never looked back. And yet, oddly enough, when I later became a teacher, as much as I loved to read and write, I wasn't great at teaching either subject. I was a much better math teacher because I had to work at numbers, and so I could share how I learned. I could explain it, but learning to read wasn't a process. I just suddenly knew what those words said. To this day, when I write, it just sounds right in my head and looks right on the page. This was not very helpful to my dear third graders. And here is another thing that I don't ever remember learning, and I'm curious if you learned it. The proper order of adjectives in English. And I don't know if this is explicitly taught to native speakers. Yet I regularly use them in order, and I can definitely tell when they're out of order because it sounds weird. There's even an acronym for this called DOSA-SCOMP. Determiner, opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, and finally purpose. That's 9. For example, you might describe a hat as the big old white French cotton gardening hat. That is determiner, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, and purpose, right? It would just sound wrong to mix them up. Like, as in the cotton big French gardening white old hat. And I do think that most native speakers just take this in because the language is just what we move in. And just a few more examples. If a handsome, tall, thin, dark-haired young man walks into a room, we wouldn't call him, say, a young, tall, handsome, thin, dark-haired man. Nor would we describe a big, fluffy white cat as a white, fluffy, big cat. Or call a charming little baby blue bird a little baby blue charming bird. So how do we learn this? And what other things are like that? Things that we know and somehow don't know how we know, or even sometimes that we know them at all. When I first saw dosa scomp, it was another revelation to me because these words just sound right in my head. And I suspect that this is how systematic biases get into our culture and worm their way into our psyches. They are just the way things work, the way things are ordered. And they become the ways of the world and recede, I think, into the background, so much so that we don't think even to question them. We don't even notice them, let alone question them. And if we don't know how we know them or how we learn them, we may not even realize that they are part of the way we think, or that they are assumptions we make without questioning them. Becoming aware is the only way to see them and then possibly make changes. And that, trying to make changes in the way things are always done, may at first feel as unnatural and odd as scrambled adjectives. And the other thing about this is the biases and injustices in our society intersect and overlap, which make them even harder to address. So today, we'll just start in one place with the practice of redlining in real estate maps, and we'll see how it just affects so many other things. Before the 1960s and 70s, it was a common practice for residential property maps to have areas in red designated as, quote, high residential security risks, which meant that the people living there, it's a little more complicated than this, and it meant that the people who lived there tended to have poor credit and couldn't get insurance, and healthcare was a challenge as well. And because of all that, their schools have fewer resources, property values are lower, so property taxes are lower. And grocery chains tend to locate away from them, creating food deserts. And guess who lived in those areas? Poorer folks and people of color. Redlining was essentially a practice of segregation. And at the time that it was put in place, it wasn't even terribly well disguised because nobody really felt like it was something to disguise. Of course, that's how we're going to do things. And it was not until sometime this decade that I have more fully understood how profoundly I have benefited from real estate redlining my entire life. There is a reason that my educated, upwardly mobile white parents moved our family to that particular affluent and very white suburb of Detroit. And now that I am more aware of redlining, I can see its effect clearly right where I live, on the east side of Ventura Avenue. There is no red line down the middle of the avenue. And the lines are actually fuzzier these days, because there is some progress sort of being made. And yet to all of us who live there, it is very clear which side is which. I would have told you that I would only have been able to say that my favorite condo complex in all of Ventura happened to be on the east side of the avenue. Yet it is so much more than a coincidence that the low-income housing and infamous gas compressor are on the west side. Not that far from me. I'm actually in danger of that gas compressor, but not as in much danger as my neighbors across the avenue and the kids who go to the elementary school across the street from a gas compressor. And the thing is that redlining has been illegal since the Fair Housing Act of 1968. There are no longer official red zones on residential maps. And yet they're still there. There is no red line going down the avenue, but clearly we all act as if it's still there and divide ourselves in the ways that those lines dictated at one point. And they've found our way into our collective memory, just the way things work. And realtors, intentionally or not, have actually continued to guide people of color into some neighborhoods and white folks into others. And it's more than the realtors. There's a reason that my particular adored condo complex was even built where it was originally. These kinds of systemic biases are insidious and so hard to change. And yet, changing what we know and how we think about things can be a first step to changing ourselves and the whole dang world. A new world is possible, but we have to be able to pay attention to dynamics like this. We have to understand that they're still there and resist them. Now, here are a couple of very different kinds of examples of the assumptions that we have in our heads that we think are just the way nature works, and yet are based on faulty science and preconceived notion. And these are cases from the animal world that we apply to human living and being how we are. For instance, the concept of the alpha male, the one born to lead, who commands attention by force, demanding respect, who leads by a show of strength, snarling and chest pounding, or the human equivalent of it, who says that showing vulnerability or empathy is weakness. You know the type. For alas, we have some very extreme versions of this right before us, and they are causing harm. Yet, as my good colleague, the Reverend Jake Morrill, says, that's not how power actually works, at least not for long. If dominance alone made someone a great leader, history would be full of dictators who ruled forever. Instead, it's full of leaders who only thought they could. So Jake, who is a UU leadership consultant, finds examples from our closest relatives, species relatives, chimpanzees. He tells the story of Amos, the ungrunting alpha. Amos did not lead his troop of chimpanzees by being big, strong, or dominant, pounding the ground aggressively, huffing and charging as the other males did. By the time the renowned primatologist Frans de Waal studied him, Amos was actually growing old, and his physical strength had significantly waned. And yet de Waal could see Amos was clearly in charge. When some dispute arose among the other chimps, Amos would watch and wait for the right moment to diffuse the tension. He might touch one cantankerous chimp gently on the shoulder, or come in and groom another, and the fight would dissipate. Amos was not loud, but steady and sure. And Jake tells the story, when things really mattered, the other chimps listened to him. When he grew older and weaker, they cared for him. Jake writes, Amos demonstrated that power isn't taken, it is given. It arises from trust that is built through relationship, not power. And it turns out that the whole notion of an alpha male was based on incomplete and inaccurate scientific conclusions. Though by the time the scientists who were doing these studies saw the era, the sense of the alpha male as described earlier had made it into our cultural zeitgeist as the best way to lead. Do you remember when Obama got in trouble because he talked about the United States leading from behind? What a beautiful thought, and something, oh my gosh, if only we could do. But instead, he just got lambasted for that, and we have what we have. Now, remember, if you will, that we hunted wolves, we in America and probably other parts of the world, but we hunted wolves to near extinction. And when people recognized this and began to reintroduce wolves to the wilderness, there were so few of them that they put together packs of unrelated wolves because it was the only thing they could do. Yet the natural wolf social structure is a family unit. The unrelated wolves didn't know who was who and what was what, so they developed more of a pack mentality, usually with a dominant alpha male who kept the order. Yet once the wolves were living successfully in the wilderness, the people who studied them learned that wolves in their natural course form families. A mating pair have a litter each year, and those pups stay with the family for another full year, helping their parents raise the next generation, their little brothers and sisters. And then they go off and create their own generations of families. As John Bradshaw, director of the Anthrozoology Institute, isn't that a wonderful thought? Anthrozoology. The Institute at the University of Bristol writes, the wolf family model is the product of millions of years of evolution, allowing the refinement of an elaborate set of signals that serve to keep the peace. The alpha model emerges only in artificial social gatherings. groupings, in which wolves have to draw on every ounce of their adaptability in order to survive the relentless social tensions in such groupings. This kind of turns our natural assumptions of how there's an alpha who leads and that's the best way to lead. It sort of flips it on its head, kind of the way Amos the ungrunting chimp did as well. The idea of an alpha male and sometimes an alpha female fit right into our culture's narrative of hierarchies and dominant leaders. And so perhaps we have some things to learn from the non-grunting chimp who earns trust, and from wolf parents who nurture their children. And the author of the book Dog Sense, John Bradshaw, he said, and wolves can snarl and put on a show when they need to, but it's not their primary way of organizing and keeping the peace. What are we going to need to think about differently to change the world we see, especially now as it is taking so many dangerous turns? How can we create the new world that is always possible, though also always possible and simultaneously always hard to realize? So I just gotta say, I was so heartened by the protests across the nation yesterday. I think it was a step toward unlearning and figuring out how this new world is possible. And all the magnificent, audacious people. The LA Times reported that there were at least 1,500 people in Ventura, lining both sides of the streets by the government center, and it reached from the government center eventually across the overpass on the 126 and onward. And if then you count all of the people driving by and honking their horns, it was twice, 3, 4 times the number who were able to be in person. And I do have a sense that this week could be could turn out to have been an inflection point in this for us. It's been so hard to know what on earth to do in the face of so much, in the face of such a mad world. This past week began with an inspiring filibuster from Senator Cory Booker, wasn't that amazing? He stood up for 25 plus hours, standing and speaking of a new vision of how we could be together, of a new world that is possible. And then Alpha in Chief did the tariff thing, and the stock market nosedived. And what we feared and waited for, the stakes were suddenly really put in stark relief for us all. And then at least 1,500 of us demonstrated in Ventura, and hundreds and thousands more honked their horns in support. And we were among hundreds of thousands across the nation and even the world. It's so heartening, such a relief, because our call continues. Another world is possible. In this time of despair, of fear of collapse, this time that is both like every other era and like no other time in history, It is audacious to declare our faith and to commit our work to a world that is more free, more just, more whole. Yet we are an audacious people in good company with many kin, ready to show up and work hard, stay humble, make friends, hold the vision, starting here, now, today, however long it takes until that other world is not always possible. It is actually here. And so whenever you feel the Spirit moving in your heart, thank goodness the Spirit is starting to move in my heart, in our hearts, and so far beyond. Another world is possible. Let us make it be so. Amen. Blessed be. Woohoo. Please join me in prayer. Holy beingness of many names and no name, endless possibility, ever unfolding before us, Spirit of life which dwells within and among and beyond us this day and always, may we stay encouraged. May we encourage one another. Put courage into one another. Be heartened by what is possible. Life will ever turn us up and upside down and back around. There will ever be a sense of chaos about us and a fear that it cannot be controlled. And yet, while that is so, other worlds are also possible. It takes all of our lives, the sorrow we must bear, the failures, pain, and loss, each new thing we learn. Let us, may we use it all to make our own days glad, but also to serve those in need throughout our city, our state, our country, the world. May you be encouraged. May we be heartened. And may we work and live ever and always to make the world we know is possible. And may all those who are ill find healing. May those who are in despair find hope. May those who are without shelter find home. And may all those who are suffering conflict and war in Gaza, Israel, Sudan, Ukraine, Congo, Myanmar, and beyond, may we all know peace. Amen. And blessed be.
Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing I Wish I Knew How.
All these chains holding
Please join me in reading the words on the screen as we prepare to extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment, those we carry into our lives until we are together again.
So all of you here in the sanctuary today are invited after the service for coffee, tea, bagels, conversation in our community room, Berg Hall. You can drop by the tables under the Connecting Center sign to visit with folk who are waiting to say hello. Want to sign up? There's still plenty of room for the Climate Justice Revival. I'm going to leave pledge cards at that table too. Time to turn those in. And just get to know each other a little bit better. We need each other so much. I leave you with these words from the poet Linda Paston. Why not? You tell me to live each day as if it were my last. But why the last? I ask. Why not live each day as if it were the first? All raw astonishment. Eve rubbing her eyes awake that very first morning. Living life as if each day were the first. Learning newly every day. What a powerful practice that could be. So go forth in love. Go forth in peace. Go forth in each moment knowing it is the first one. May it be so.